Taped from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, the show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out about Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
And I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
Hey, Darren, what's going on?
How's it going? Getting into the holiday spirit, my friend? Ho, 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 fa, la, la. All that jive?
Sure, I guess, yeah.
Oh, boy. All right, wow, all right. We're just starting right off with a bang.
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I'm not wired up like normal people. You know this. You know this about me.
But it's Christmas Eve, Mr. Scrooge.
It's December 10th.
All right. Well, is it? Huh.
Right. The day we're recording this, yes. Yes.
Well, this is embarrassing.
And if you want to consider that a community callback too, yeah, I'm Jeff Wingering it.
Oh, nice. Love it. Love it. There you go. All right. See, now you're getting in the spirit.
Yeah, I like as I get older, I like the Christmas things that also acknowledge that the holidays can be an incredibly depressing time for people. You know, and,
yes.
that's why It's a Wonderful Life is like one of the best Christmas movies ever, if not the best.
Yeah,
because it acknowledges that. I mean, he is straight up getting ready to commit suicide at the beginning of that movie.
Like it's weird. People kind of see that as like a feel good Christmas movie, but it's really not. Like the dude's suicidal. Mr. Potter like straight up gets away with, ripping the dude off and like nothing.
Which provided the premise of one of the all-time great SNL sketches from the William Shatner show in 1986.
Right, exactly. Like that actually, like it's one of those things where I saw that episode first before I saw the movie.
Oh yeah, okay.
And like so when I saw that sketch. And like the way they were just kind of beating down Mr. Potter, I was like, "Oh, that's not funny. They're beating up that poor old man." And then I saw the movie, and I was like, "Fuck Mr. Potter."
They didn't beat up that old man enough.
Exactly. It's like once I got the context, I was like, "Oh, all right, then this is justified." Of course, fuck that dude.
Yeah.
Mr. Potter can eat a dick.
Exactly, 100%, 100%.
You can quote me on that.
But I've long felt that It's a Wonderful Life really earns its happy ending because it gets like super dark before that. So
right,
like The Fisher King's another movie like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't like it when it's just kind of like treacly all the way through, like what I assume Hallmark movies are like. And I never watch Hallmark movies, so maybe I'm unfairly stereotyping them. But probably not.
No, it makes sense. Like I do like it when they tap into the realness of things like that. Like, have you ever seen the movie The Apartment?
I love the movie The Apartment. I mean, it's Billy Wilder. Come on,
it's fantastic. I went in kind of not knowing about it, but like I heard about it. Like I knew about it back in the days. I'm going to date myself when I worked in the video department of a Virgin Megastore in Union Square in Manhattan. And like, of course, when you're in the video department, you're surrounded by like a ton of movie nerds. And they were always talking about all these movies that like were classics. And then they mentioned The Apartment. I was like, oh, I'd never heard of that. And it's like, oh, you got to watch The Apartment. It's fantastic. And I watched it. And yeah, it totally wasn't what I was expecting because like you look at the cover, it looks like, oh, this is probably some cutesy little rom-com or whatever from the 50s.
Right.
And then you get in, it's like, oh, actually, no, it's a lot darker than I thought. It's like about depression and, person being suicidal and loneliness. And it's like, oh, Jesus. This is
yeah. I've seen most of the big Billy Wilder films. I've seen Double Indemnity, Sunset Boulevard, Stalag 17, Some Like It Hot, of course. The Apartment is wonderful. 7 Year Itch. So I've seen most of the big ones. Oh, and The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes is a favorite of mine too, because I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan.
Oh, I don't think I'm familiar with
as you found out if you listened to our episode of, what was that movie called? Holmes and Watson?
Yeah.
That Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly did?
Yeah.
Woo. Not very good, but Private Life of Sherlock Holmes is wonderful. And yeah, I want to watch more Billy Wilder films. Sabrina is really good.
Yeah, okay. I'll give that a look-see. I remember watching it years ago. I don't remember much about it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's Audrey Hepburn, William Holden, and Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah, and then they like remade it with like Harrison Ford and whatnot.
Yeah, I've never seen the remake. I should check out the remake sometime. I'm kind of curious about that.
Okay.
Um,
We'll give it a
yeah,
look. See.
but anyway, Billy Wilder's great, and The Apartment in particular is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, guys. If you haven't seen The Apartment, go watch it. It's like one of those movies that'll surprise you. Like it's not what you think it'll be, but like it's really good. I mean, Jack Lemmon knocks it out the park, and
Yeah, I mean Jack Lemmon, he's like this young executive. He's kind of rising in the company by loaning out his apartment to the upper level execs so that they can all have affairs and cheat on their wives.
What a premise!
That's an incredible premise. Yeah.
I mean, holy moly.
Yeah. And it's Jack Lemmon and a young Shirley MacLaine, and Shirley MacLaine's very charming in it, and I love that movie. I'm gonna have to see if I can watch that again, or maybe pencil that in for Christmas or New Year's. That's a great one to watch in the holidays.
Yeah, and it has a New Year's scene too, New Year's Eve scene.
It does. It climaxes on New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Like part of me was hoping, was any SNL possible cast members in that movie so we could talk about it in the podcast, but alas.
Yeah, I know that was like in the early. It was like 1960, so it's there wouldn't be. I mean, I would. God, I would. If there was any connection between Billy Wilder and any SNL cast member, but I mean, he made his last movie in like I think 1981, something like that. So
okay, so maybe
not a whole lot of overlap.
All right, well, listeners, if you know of a connection between SNL and Billy Wilder, give us a call. Call in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phone's just lighting up.
Yes. But we're not here to talk about Billy Wilder. We're here to talk about the latest episode of SNL.
Yes, we are. In the latest episode, which happens to be Adam Driver as the host, Olivia Rodrigo returning as a musical guest. This is season 49, episode 7, air date December 9th, 2023. Now, I know this is Adam Driver's 4th time hosting. I think it's like the 2nd time Olivia Rodrigo is coming back to be a musical guest.
Yeah, I believe the first time she was, I believe it was during the one of the Woody Harrelson episodes, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah, which was a season premiere, I think last year.
I believe
or maybe,
so, yes.
I don't know. What is time?
What is it?
Yeah. You still believe in time?
Oh, Alex Moffat, we hardly knew ye.
I do kind of miss Alex Moffat. I wouldn't mind seeing him come back and cameo or host or something.
Yeah, no, he had the goods. I feel like we took him for granted. He had a lot more going for him than we gave him credit for.
Yeah, I mean, he became somebody I really came to like, and yeah. But anyway, so I think you were looking forward to Adam Driver coming back a little more than I was, because I was kind of mixed on his previous hosting gigs.
Yeah, and that kind of surprised me because, I mean, from what I've seen online, the general consensus is that he was a really good host, and he always like elevates the sketches he's in. Like I will give him that. Like he's one of those. He's like kind of known for his dramatic acting. So when of course, the world famous line, he needs to know that I fought for him, which we have said numerous times on this podcast. Yes. But like the fact that we see like, oh, he has the ability to be funny too, and he can, he has some comedy chops, like really kind of surprised a lot of people. I think I forget what podcast it was, but somebody mentioned like he kind of might be like the Christopher Walken of our day, where he's like a guy who's known for his dramatic stuff. And
I think that's overstating it personally, but I see where people are coming from. I don't agree with that, but okay.
Yeah, like he has a very specific look, and he's known for drama.
He does.
He also can be very funny and charming when he wants to be.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying I've never liked anything he's done. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying he's been much more of a mixed bag for me.
Okay, so, fair enough.
So I didn't like when they announced that he was hosting, and then they also that Kate McKinnon is hosting next week. I was much more excited to hear that Kate McKinnon was coming back.
Yes, absolutely.
So, but that's me. That's how I'm wired up.
Yes, you're cut from a different cloth.
I'm a complicated man.
Yes, no one understands you but your woman.
Yeah, I'm like Joan Shaft, basically.
Yes, exactly. And I can dig it.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen any of the Shaft movies all the way through. I should. I feel like I should watch the Shaft movies.
I think I saw the first one, but it was for a class. Like I took class
The
in
first Richard Roundtree one?
yeah. Like I took a class in college that was like African American cinemas,
Sure.
and
Okay.
like I know we saw Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, and
That's like the first blaxploitation movie, right?
yeah, and I'm pretty sure we saw Shaft too,
Okay.
because like Shaft was a really big deal when it came out. Because like, oh
Yeah,
shit,
it was. It was. Yeah.
it was a huge old deal. So I'm
And
pretty.
I never watched the Samuel L. Jackson remake. I just remember like a line that he used in the trailer where he goes, "It's my duty to please that booty."
Yes, I remember that.
And I was like, and at one point he uses like he turns in his police badge and he uses it as like a throwing star.
Yeah,
And I kind of want to, and I know Christian Bale's the villain in it.
yeah. It has like a young Christian Bale, young Jeffrey Wright as well.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that is right.
Right on.
Can you dig it?
We can dig it. Anyway,
Scott,
we got a little sidetracked.
yeah,
So,
cold
anyway.
open, cold open.
Cold
Jesus.
open. I honestly didn't take many notes on this cold open. It
Uh,
was
yeah, me neither. Yeah. So cold open is the college president's cold open. It's basically them talking about the hearing they had about the rise in anti-Semitism, unfortunately, through college
right.
campuses.
And as they said on Weekend Update this week, one college president actually ended up losing her job because of stuff she said
Yeah, well, basically,
during this.
yeah, like
Not
basically,
during the SNL sketch, but during the real life events that inspired this SNL sketch.
right, like basically in the trial, the president of UPenn, Elizabeth McGill, during the hearing, she wouldn't give like a very clear cut answer as to whether anti-Semitism or the hate speech would be condemned
Right.
under
Yeah,
under
she was trying
UPenn.
to be like all speech is protected, and she was trying, I guess, hedge her bets. I don't know.
Yeah, like
I didn't see this, so I had a limited familiarity with the story going into this sketch.
yeah, she kind of tried to do that all speech matters type of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, like and that's also one of the my first kind of problems with this cold open, just because like it felt like a lot of people weren't familiar with this hearing, even though it
It
was big
feels like
news.
a very yeah, but it feels like as news stories go, it's a little on the obscure side.
Yeah, like it was kind of a big deal, and it was in the news. But like I feel like for whatever reason, people just weren't locked into it or didn't check it out.
Well, I
So
think, I mean, part of it is like it's December now. I think people aren't as looped into the news as they might be for the rest of the year. I think that's part of it.
yeah,
People are
that's true.
caught up in their own business.
Yeah, and
Um,
also, I mean, the subject of this is like pretty serious and pretty dour with people not denouncing
right.
Jewish genocide, and I
Hmm.
I can understand people not wanting to like check that out because it is pretty troubling news to hear.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I feel like this cold open it had a few problems.
Mm.
Um, one I think Chloe Trose's character voice was really annoying, so it was really tough to listen to her. And I realized she was like imitating a real person.
Yeah, she was imitating. Let me check my notes. Elise Stefanik, who's the
Yeah.
one who's the one holding the hearing, and
Hmm.
yeah, and of course we had Chloe Feynman as the president of MIT, Sally Kornbluth,
Right.
Heidi Gardner as the president of UPenn, Elizabeth McGill, and Ego as president of Harvard, Claudine Gay. And of course, they make a joke about her being Dr. Gay,
Yeah.
which sounds like the name of a Molly dealer on Fire Island.
That was a good line. I like that. That's a good line.
Good line, good line. Uh,
But I feel like the character voice that Chloe Trost used was really annoying, so it made her kind of tough to listen to. And again, realized that she was imitating a real person, so that's not really her fault. Um, I liked when they had Keenan on as the president of the University of Phoenix, which is like a big online university, and he said anti-Semitism is our most popular major, and our mascot is porn. And
yeah,
they were asking him if he could like properly police the campus, and he's like, "Well, our campus is the internet, so no."
yeah, exactly. Because I mean, that part added a little bit of levity to it. Because I think also the
Hmm.
subject matter is so heavy, it's hard to
Yeah,
find the jokes in it, and I wasn't quite
yeah.
sure if they they found them because I could tell even the audience was like feeling kind of at uneasy with this too. They weren't.
Yeah, I this felt pretty dire because yeah, it just wasn't getting many laughs.
Yeah, and I felt kind of bummed for it because, like you said,
Yeah.
Chloe Trost, this is her first time doing a cold open and her first time anchoring it too, and
Hmm.
so she kind of got, I won't say thrown to the wolves, but like she kind of did, this is like kind of her time to shine, and it's not hitting. And also, I did find out this little bit of news
Hmm.
from listening to another podcast, the good people at Saturday Night Network. Um,
Which
Apparently,
would you guest starred on earlier this week,
oh
by the way?
yes, I did. Hey, check me out there, guys.
Yeah.
But according to what they say that the part Chloe Trost was playing, Cecily Strong was there at the studio, and she was playing that part in dress rehearsal. So, like, part of me was thinking, oh, was she going to make her grand
Huh.
appearance again, playing that part? But then I guess something happened, and she just ended up not doing it live, and then Chloe Trost did it live.
How odd.
Very odd, like very much so.
That's
So
really
yeah,
okay.
I didn't know what to make of
Was
that.
this a character that Cecily had done before?
Not really, but I think because in the past Cecily kind of played those wackadoo Republican
Yeah, she
uh
excelled at that. That was like
yeah.
half her brand by the end of
Yeah,
her
so
tenure on the show.
so part of me thinks they just want to have her in again to do that cuz she's able to sort of carry and elevate those characters a little bit better than Chloe did here, I think. But for whatever
Again,
reason it didn't happen.
I don't really want to blame the performer. I want to blame it
Right.
on the writing, and I think it's just kind of a bad choice for a cold open. I mean,
Yeah.
doing like a C-SPAN congressional hearing thing, it's a very dry way to start the show to begin with.
Yeah, like I remember somebody saying online saying like this sketch was the most Jim Downiest of sketches that SNL has been in a while. And I
Yeah,
agree.
I mean,
It's a very word
there,
heavy, very dialogue
yeah,
heavy, the sketch.
there's a line towards the end of the sketch which I think just summed it up for me, and I didn't write down which character it was, but they just said this was all very useless, and I was like, I agree, this was all very useless. So, you know, 6.5 minutes. It's very long, not
Yeah.
very funny.
Yeah.
It's a bad way to start the show.
Yeah, no, this yeah, I mean like the subject matter is pretty dour or pretty serious. So like with something
Hmm.
like this, you kind of need to treat it really delicately. And I mean, they kind of did because like they kind of made fun of the people handling the situation rather than the actual
Yeah, but
situation. But I don't know, it didn't come. The jokes just really
it
weren't
didn't work.
there. Yeah, like they were kind of making fun of the left and the right. Like I think at one point, Chloe Trost, after she talked to the president of the Phoenix Online. She's like, "Oh, finally, I got a straight answer from someone on this panel." And then Chloe Feynman says, "Well, you shouldn't say straight answer because you don't know the sexual orientation of the answer." So like, I felt like, oh, that was like a zap at the libs, and
I thought that was just dumb.
yeah,
Anyway, I don't have much else to say about this sketch. It was just bad. That's all I have to
yeah,
say, man.
yeah. No, I agree. It wasn't the best way to start the night for sure.
Anyway, did you notice in the opening credits, because we didn't have a "Please Don't Destroy" sketch, that they were out of the opening credits?
You know what? I didn't notice that we didn't get a PDD sketch until like literally moments ago, like before we recorded today, where I was like, "Oh
Oh,
yeah, there was."
really?
Yeah, I was like, "Oh yeah, there was no PDD sketch, huh?" So I guess that's how it's gonna work now. When they get a sketch in, we'll see them in the opening, and when they don't, we
Yeah,
won't.
it was kind of funky.
Mm.
And you know, as long as we're talking about the opening credits, have you noticed the weird sort of like time warp thing that's going on?
What do you mean?
Okay, because like James Austin Johnson is a regular cast member now, so
Yeah.
he's in the beginning. But when Marcelo is like taking his key for the hotel or whatever, you see James Austin Johnson sort of like waiting to check in. So it's like this weird sort of time warp. It's like, wait, we already
Oh.
saw him like come up to the desk and ring the bell,
Oh
and
wow.
it's because they're in different parts of the or the opening credits. And it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
oh
Okay.
wow, it's backing up now, and it works at the very beginning when we have like Che, Dismukes, Chloe Feynman, and somebody else, and they're all like gathered together in the piano bar area.
Right,
But
because they're all featured players, so they all appear in the same.
exactly. And
Thing.
now, yeah,
And now JAJ is part of the main cast, and Marcello isn't. So you gotta kind of
right.
until
So it's
until
like,
Marcello becomes the part of the main cast, you got to have that weird funky cut.
right, and then they won't be too far removed from each other, but we'll still see James Austin Johnson walk up to the desk, ring the bell, and then we'll back up in time and see him. Like, anyway,
Got to go back in time.
Okay. So
Monologue.
Adam Driver monologue. Came out, talked about his very deep and personal relationship with Santa. And apparently Santa hasn't liked SNL since Chris Kattan left, which, wow.
Wow, damn, Santa.
Santa has very specific tastes.
Shots fired.
Was he a big fan of Mango? Did he like Gay Hitler? Or
Ooh, yeah, I mean,
what?
there's a treasure trove of Chris Kattan characters.
Yeah. I'm just wondering which Chris Kattan's character was Santa's favorite.
I don't know. So many. There's Mango,
Yeah,
uh, the Roxbury Boys.
sure.
There was that one Chris Kattan character where he like kind of talks in like garbled nonsense, and no one understands what he's saying. Abracadabra.
It's
So,
so that was a lot of Chris Kattan characters. I know he was
damn.
like a drill sergeant, right?
Yeah, he was a drill sergeant, but then he had like another job, Shul something, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Whatever. But you guys know what I'm talking about. But he had that.
You guys do. I don't, but
You guys.
you our listeners do. Yes.
Yeah.
So we also had Adam Driver playing the piano. I liked him at one point. He just goes, "Hey Santa," and then he's just, "Oh yes, I'm on TV. Hey Santa."
Yeah.
That was right. He seemed very loose. He seemed very relaxed.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems very comfortable there because it's his fourth time hosting, and he knows most everybody there. So
yeah.
he's kind of into a groove at this point. I felt like.
No, absolutely. Like we see him actually play the piano, like for reals.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's just kind of making quips here and there, talking about he wants a Tesla truck from Santa for his super small micro penis. Saying
Right.
things like, "Hey, I'm
Shots fired at Elon.
yeah, take that,
Yeah,
got him."
he's horrible.
Yeah, he really is. Talking about how he doesn't like people saying that he killed Han Solo in the Star Wars movie. It's like, I didn't kill Han Solo. Wokeness killed Han Solo.
Yeah, and he really played those jokes well, and he was delivering them just right. I mean, it just kind of came off as him free associating at the piano.
Yeah, it really did. Like, he did that one joke about how, like, oh, you know those couples on TikTok who pull pranks on people? Hey, Santa, can you kill those people?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that just seemed like just off the cuff. And
I mean, and I'm sure it was all written material, and he wasn't really doing any of this off the cuff. But he is a very good actor, so it did seem more spontaneous than it was.
yeah, and I do
And
wonder if that whole TikTok, kill the TikTok couples was like prankers, was like a riff on another sketch we get later on in the night about TikTok pranks.
it could have been. It could have been. I mean, it felt like, was this just like stuff that Adam Driver was saying around people over the course of the week, and then they just put them into the monologue? It was fun. It was like I said, it was kind of loosey goosey, so it was enjoyable enough. Nothing too terribly notable. I was impressed with his piano playing.
Yeah, very much so. There was that one point where he's like, "All right, well, I'll wrap it up, Santa. I look forward to you breaking into my house." That seemed like very like off the cuff
Mm-hmm.
too. Where it's just like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this guy's in the zone. He's in the
Mm-hmm.
groove,
Mm-hmm.
baby." But yeah,
Um,
solid monologue, I'd say. I liked it.
yeah, decent. First sketch is titled "We're Trying." This has Adam and Bowen as a gay couple on a retreat with some other couples, and apparently they don't understand where babies come from. So,
Yes.
I mean, this is pretty straightforward because we have like one couple announce, "Oh yeah, we're trying to have kids, we're trying to have a baby," and then Bowen and Adam are like, "Well, we're trying too," and everyone's like, "Oh, well, what are you doing? Are you doing adoption? Are you doing surrogacy?" And they're just like, "Oh no, we're trying." And we kind of quickly learned that they think that gay couples can just reproduce biologically.
Yeah. Basically, it's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna have sex, and they'll just be up in the stirrups. So no one
Yeah,
come knocking on our door tonight.
yeah, and uh, it was funny, and I have a feeling Bowen had a hand in writing this one.
I I'd bet dollars to donuts he did. Like,
Yeah, I mean, because at one point he was like, "Oh my god, like people think they can just ask gay guys any question," and I'm like, "Okay, that's something drawn from Bowen's life."
yeah, exactly. Talking
Because
about,
I'm sure that is a bane of gay people's lives is their well-meaning straight friends being like, "Well, so how does this thing work?
how does this work with
How do
you?
gay?"
How
Yeah.
how do gay?
So I kind of enjoyed that they were playing just like a deeply stupid or deeply thick gay couple. I think that's a funny premise.
Yeah, very much so. But yeah, that's pretty much the sketch. I thought it
Hmm.
was weird when like during that sketch when they're talking to their friends about babies, and then Bowen kind of goes off on this tangent saying, and you know what, and tomorrow's even my birthday, none of you said happy birthday to me, and then Ego comes out of nowhere with a birthday cake saying happy birthday.
I also thought that was really weird.
Yeah, I was like,
Um,
wait, what is she, what's happening now? So now
I was like,
she's,
okay, wait, okay, I'm totally down with him being surprised for his birthday, and then he's like, oh well, this is awkward. But when Ego just comes out by herself, I'm like, okay, so is Ego's character single, or and
yeah,
she's just on this retreat with three couples? That's a little odd because usually like couples go on vacations together, and you don't really bring your single friends.
yeah, I mean
So
it's
I've
just,
heard.
yeah.
Um,
Oh boy.
and or is Ego's character just like in a throuple?
Yeah,
What I was like, what's going on with Ego's character?
it's just a weird extra thing to bring in, like, as the sketch is winding down.
Right, like maybe if Ego had like excused herself early on and then come back at the end, I just thought structurally it was a little odd.
Yeah, no, it was like, because like they were getting into it about like them having a baby, and then like them getting upset about like them wanting to have a
Right,
child, and then out of nowhere, Ego's like, "Hey, happy birthday!" I was like, "What the
and
fuck?"
Ego also announced that her character was pregnant, so it's like,
Well, no, she said she was expecting.
or she was trying, right?
No, she said she was expecting, and
Uh
it's like,
huh.
"Oh my god, you're pregnant." It's like, "No, I'm expecting to have a baby someday."
Oh, right. Yes, you're right. Yeah, and then we find out that her character is also dumb. So
Yeah, I was like, all right. It was, it kind of took me. I had to like recalibrate for a minute. I was like, wait, what's happening now?
it was an oddish ending to the sketch. It was like it felt like it was 75% of the way there, the ending, and I get it, endings are tough, but
Yeah, yeah, I enjoyed the sketch enough, but I was like, I feel like there's a better sketch in this sketch.
I mean, I feel like it was strong enough to start the evening on, and again, like Adam and Bowen's performances were both excellent. I mean, they had a nice, cool chemistry together. I just loved how stupid they were. How just like they were not resolutely not getting it through the entire sketch. So that was fun.
No, absolutely. So yeah, next up we have a pre-tape, Old Friends.
Old friends, we got Mikey and Chloe Feynman. They're a couple coming home for Christmas.
Right.
He gets up to Mikey's old room and then he's like, "Oh, I remember my old friend Keith, my childhood best friend. I haven't seen him in like must be 15 years." And Chloe says, "Well, why don't you give him a call and invite him out?" And so he texts his friend, who's played by Adam Driver, of course, and says, "Hey, why don't we go out and get a beer?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, let's go to this bar. Is that within 1,000 feet of a school?"
Mm. Yeah, and once I saw that, I was like, all right, I see what the game is.
Yeah, but I liked that this had a lot of twists.
I did
How
too.
and it's just them talking back and forth, and he's like, "Oh, hey, it's really good to hear from you. I lost a lot of friends this last year, like after that Netflix doc, which really like did not state things fairly."
Right.
And then they look up his friend on Netflix, and they find that there's a documentary about him called "The Man with 600 Kids," where he apparently was a janitor in a fertility clinic and substituted his own sperm
Right.
for the samples. And um, I liked how wacky and out there this got.
Yeah, like I like how he said, "Oh, it's been a hard year. I lost the love of my life,"
Yeah.
and then he sends her a picture of the love of his life, which of course is an AK-47.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, they can just take your gun away just for the things you say online. It's unfair.
Yeah, and then
And
he says, I'm going to invite my friend Big Filthy out," and we see Devin as Big Filthy, who like immediately texts Mikey uh, with, "I have a way we can make 30K tonight."
you allergic to
And
latex?
that that seemed like it was, if this sketch had been done like 15-20 years ago, Tracy Morgan would have played that part
Oh, for
100%.
sure, for sure.
Yeah, I was like, that's a total Tracy Morgan part. Like I could totally see, "You want to make 30K tonight?"
You allergic to latex?
And then yeah, and then the kicker is Mikey just saying to his wife, "Oh, I don't know how I didn't know how crazy he went." And Chloe's just like, "That's because you're never on Facebook." And then we find out it was a big ad for Facebook.
Yeah,
It's the best way to see which of your old friends are crazy now.
exactly. And they also had that one other line where talking about where Keith was saying to Jake, Mikey D's character, was like, "Hey, I just want to say thanks for reaching out. Me spending time with you and your mom's house was
Yes.
like some of the best times of my life." And then it's like, "Does your mom still have big ones?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, sorry, that was a typo. Did she have big titties?"
Yes.
That I don't know what that the word titties is just a fun word. It's just funny.
I liked that it kept finding new twists and new ways that he was crazy and wacky. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll pick you up soon. I'm gonna have to take an Uber though, because I couldn't renew my driver's license because the DMV is within 1,000 feet of the school." I mean, that was fun. It wasn't all just like stemming from the Netflix doc. It wasn't all just,
Right.
I mean, there was a lot in there, so I enjoyed that, and and it's always fun to see Mikey just be like, "What is happening? What is?" I mean, I've said it a million times. Mikey's very good at playing incredulous. So
Incredulous Mikey strikes again.
incredulous Mikey, I'm a sucker for incredulous Mikey, and I'm sure Mikey. This felt like a Mikey and Streeter joint to me.
I'm looking right now. I think somebody put up on Twitter that yeah, it is. Like I think
Hmm.
somebody put like
Damn, I
Streeter's
guessed right. Yeah,
Streeter, Mikey, Allison Gates. Looks like Mike.
I'm a bright, bright, perceptive guy.
Well done, sir. Well played.
Yep, yep.
But yeah, solid sketch. Yeah, I got a kick out of this.
Solid sketch. It, sketch of the night for me, 100%. It kind of reminded me of that sketch from a few years back where Billie Eilish was inviting her neighbor across the street to her
Yes.
Christmas dinner. And it's Kate McKinnon. She looks like the sweet old lady. And then they're like holding up signs, like in that old Taylor Swift video where she's like, "Are there going to be any black people there?"
Yes.
And
Oh.
it just gets weirder and weirder and weirder. And I think that was probably a Mikey Streeter thing too. It seems like their voice, but it reminded me of that sketch in a good way.
Yeah. Yes. No, I remember that sketch. That was a strong sketch for that. I remember
That's a
that.
banger, right?
That was a banger, as the kids say.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, well, next up we have a sketch called Beep Beep, where
Beep
we've
beep.
got a family Christmas dinner, or family and neighbors. We have Adam Driver as the husband running back and forth to the kitchen uh, with a very impressive fake mustache, I must say.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my man is rocking the stash.
Adam Driver has a good mustache face.
I would say so. Yeah. Like
He's got that long face, and there's I don't know. He's just got the type of face that a mustache looks really good on.
yeah. No,
So
his mug was built for a stash.
whoever chose to give like Adam Driver and Andrew Dismukes and at the very end Keenan's character mustaches. I mean, I think that was an A+ decision
Mm-hmm.
because
Absolutely.
it knocked the sketch up a notch.
Yeah. No, very much so. But yeah, like so it's basically Adam Driver's character kind of coming through the kitchen with like new dishes for the table, and of course
Right.
this does kind of happen. Like I've noticed, like maybe like family gathering where somebody's behind you and they're trying to get around you or through you.
Yeah.
They're like beep beep, oh coming through, beep beep.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just that little thing, that little observation, and then Dismukes comes over as one of the guests, and he's brought a dish, and he's trying to do the beep beep thing, and then the two of them clash because they're both trying to beep beep each other at the same time and put their own dishes on the table.
Yeah, exactly. So at one point they're both trying to, like you said, there's like a standoff between the two,
Yeah.
and then there's like, no, I said I beep beeped first. I beep beeped first, and I
Yeah.
think then Adam Driver's like, oh, so you want to die tonight?
They are playing it with the utmost seriousness, which I loved. I liked, as I said, Andrew Dismukes has the mustache too. And
Yes.
honestly, part of me was like, are we going to find out that these two were like twins separated at birth or something?
Ooh.
Because you're kind of a lot of times before the twist happens, you're sort of trying to anticipate the twist.
Absolutely. I did
And I,
also. Yeah. I'm sorry.
and I was thinking it would be fun if it was like a two identical strangers thing,
Yeah. Just like beep beep
like that
beep
that
beep beep.
yeah. Right. Like you hear about the twins separated at birth, and then their lives have all these crazy parallels. Like they both married a flight attendant. They both
Mm.
had three children, two boys and a girl, and they did they were archaeology majors in college, and it's all these weird coincidences. But I liked how serious the other guests were playing it at one point. Like the wives are asking the husbands to intercede, and,
Yeah.
and James Austin Johnson just goes, "We cannot get involved."
Yes. One of them must yield to the other's beep beep, or fight to the death.
Yeah, and they did the thing where Keenan comes in as a third neighbor, and he does his own beep beep. He's also got a mustache. I was a little disappointed to see that, honestly, because like Keenan entering in the last bit of the sketch, it's become such a crutch for the show.
Okay. Yeah, I
Um,
see what you mean.
I mean, I think it worked okay here, because he was like, oh, this one he has a gun in his pants, so he wins the standoff. But it was
Right.
like, okay, we already brought Keenan in late in the cold open. We're doing this twice in a show now.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. But
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, he kind of, I mean, it's like I said, like he kind of saved that cold open, which wasn't very great. But I mean,
Hmm.
which I don't know if I mean, he didn't really save this sketch because the sketch I thought was already pretty good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would say maybe he just added to it, or he just kind of kept it still on.
I think it worked better in this sketch than it did in the cold open because I don't think much worked in the cold open. But
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to see them go to that well twice in a show. You
No,
know,
that's fair enough. I hear what you're
like
saying.
once a show is fine. Okay,
Right.
I I respect that the writers think that Keenan entering in the last third of a sketch will save it every single time, and they're only right about 50% of the
Okay.
time.
Wow. Wow.
Look, I went on the whole Keenan riff last week. Go
Yeah.
back and listen to that if you
Yeah.
if you want to hear more of my thoughts
Oh,
on Keenan. I don't want to do it every single week
it is scathing.
because it's boring to listen to if I do it every week.
But
So
yeah, I mean, overall, I thought the sketch was pretty good.
I think this was a solid sketch, and again, really elevated by the performances. I think the choices to give them all mustaches. I think that was a great bizarre choice.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah, this might be my sketch of the night. I really,
Okay.
I got a kick out of it.
Well, no, I'm sorry. We've already decided Old Friends is the sketch of the night, Darren.
Damn it! All right, fine.
I mean, I called it first.
You
So
did. All right, you did. No take back, no backsies. Got it.
no, this is a respectable choice for sketch of the night.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. So next up, Shop TV Christmas.
Shop TV Christmas. We've got Mikey and Heidi. They're like the co-hosts of a cable show, and Mikey's like one of those guys. Is he extremely southern? Is he extremely gay? Is he both? You don't
Yeah.
really know.
Yeah, basically a home shopping network QVC
Yeah.
type of show.
Very Crisley Knows Best vibes.
Exactly. They actually
from-
did the same setup before in the Gerard Carmichael episode, like this QVC Home Shopping Network format.
I do not remember that at all.
Yeah, it's the one where they had Gerard Carmichael was like a doll maker, and like one of the dolls
Okay.
had like a rainbow colored bush or something like that. It's
Still not
Nothing-
ringing a bell. It must
no-
not have made a big impression on me.
not ringing any bells, eh?
I mean, look, I will talk about the 1986 "It's a Wonderful Life" sketch all day long, but you bring up this sketch that aired maybe a year ago, and I'm just like, nope, sorry, Men in Black memory erase button.
Well, take my word for it. It did happen.
Okay, no, I don't doubt you. I don't doubt you in the least, but okay.
All right, fair enough.
So this time around, we've got Driver as a chocolatier, and he's selling a deluxe chocolate Santa, and then he unwraps it from the
The foil.
the foil. Thank you, and it unwrapped. It looks like a penis.
Yep.
I mean, and that's the central joke of it.
Yeah, like
Honestly, Prop wise, I'm thinking it could have looked a little more like a penis.
Yeah, like maybe, but then again, maybe you get into that thing of, I guess like the network would have to step in and be like, all right, it can't look too much like a penis. Standards and
Yeah,
practices. Like
I
you
I
can't
started to wonder that. I started to wonder if like the
like
standards and practices were like, okay, yeah. I mean, it can be like vaguely in the shape, but it can't like
you
be
can't
a
put in.
shaft with veins or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you can't. Jesus. But yeah, like no.
I actually okay. I quick sidebar.
Oh my God,
Uh,
what are we about to talk about here?
I was I was an art major in college,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to you had to take all sorts of classes outside your discipline. Like I was a graphic design major, but I still had to take like a ceramics class and a sculpture class, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever they want to expose you to lots of different things.
Right.
And in my ceramics class, there was one dude in the class who was making a penis shaped cookie jar,
Go on.
and one of my one of my classmates in the class noticed that when he was working on it, he would periodically get up, excuse himself to the bathroom, and then come back a few minutes later and continue his sculpture.
The fuck?
He was checking things.
Okay.
He was checking things to give it a so it could look accurate. I'm assuming.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about that. Why would
I mean, hey, I haven't forgotten it in the last 30 years. So I mean, how do you think I feel?
Oh God.
When somebody pointed that out, I was like, oh my fucking god.
He's
Um, yeah,
wow. For
yeah.
accuracy, he's doing it.
So maybe we didn't want a disturbingly realistic.
Yeah. You don't want to see like
But I think it would have aided the comedy a little if it was even more penis like.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, but I'm assuming that, standard and practice would have stepped in and be like, no, you can't show it
Yeah,
circumcised or anything like that. It has to look like so and so.
yeah. I mean, it kind of looked like half like a penis, half like a plug of some sort.
Ooh, Randy.
You know
But
what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. But yeah, so
Yeah.
then after the reveal of the chocolate penis
Mm-hmm.
shaped candy, it basically goes to like a lot of kind of low hanging fruit, like blue material
Speaking
about
of low hanging, am I
hey,
right?
hey, yo, that's right. Not in my 20s
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like
yeah,
basically, people calling in asking if it vibrates.
yeah.
Uh,
Driver's flapping it in front of his waist at one point.
yeah.
He's talking about, oh, do you want to gobble this down? And he pulls out at one point two creamy clusters that look like
Ooh.
testicular. Um,
Right. Of course, he tries to get Mikey Day to eat it, and he's like, "Oh,
right.
I'll try to figure out I'm trying to figure out how to eat it best without becoming a meme." Of course.
Which okay, Mikey, you break off a chunk and then you just eat that piece by itself.
Ooh, that's it. Holy
You
sh!
break it apart and then it's just a piece of chocolate.
Yeah, you break off a piece of
That's
that
how that's how you do.
Kit Kat cock. Yeah, that's how you do it. You're right.
That's how you work it.
That's the way to do
That
it.
is the solution to your dilemma, Mikey Day character in SNL comedy sketch.
Wow. I think we did it. We solved the case, kids. Good
I
work,
went,
gang.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I once went to a community theater thing, and a lot of times, like opening nights, they're serving uh, food of some sort, and I think they served these little chocolate things, but they were shaped like vaginas. I think they were left over from a production of the Vagina Monologues or something. So yeah,
Wow.
we have these very realistically sculpted chocolate vaginas
Okay.
at this thing. So yeah, that's what you do.
That's
You either lean into that or you break off a little chunk and just eat it discreetly.
exactly. That's how you
Yeah.
avoid becoming a meme.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Adam Driver says, "I handle all the packages myself, so it should come pretty quick." So,
Uh,
I
uh,
mean, like you said, it's low hanging fruit, but it was funny. It was well performed. I
yeah,
enjoyed it. I'm not made of stone.
exactly. Yeah, we're not we may come off as comedy snobs on this podcast, but we enjoy the crass joke every now and then. It's
We
fun.
enjoy a good dick joke like anybody else,
Yeah, yeah, we do.
and these were good dick jokes, I would say.
I would say so. Yeah, like this. I thought
Yeah,
this was. It wasn't like cerebral, brilliant comedy. It's just like, hey, it looks like a chocolate dick, right?
This is good, solid, erect dick jokes.
That's God.
Good,
Yes.
solid, erect dick jokes that just had a lot of power behind them.
Yeah, a lot of power.
A lot of thrust.
A lot of throbby, veiny power.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it came to a nice climax.
Oh, there you go, Volt. All right. There we go. Oh, and
Are we done? I think we're done.
Then it fell right asleep.
It turned over and fell asleep. Yeah. After having a cigarette, because cigarettes are like dessert for sex.
Yeah, they are. Musical guest Olivia Rodrigo.
Olivia Rodrigo did 2 numbers, as SNL musical guests are wont to do. Her first number is Vampire, which is very, very ballady, very kind of sing-songy.
Yeah, and then her second song, All American Bitch.
All American Bitch.
Ooh, Randy.
Yeah, this was basically like a live music video. We see her at a table, and she's in like this. It seemed like almost like an Alice in Wonderland type of thing.
Yeah,
she's in like a pink dress and.
Yeah, kind of like that Tom Petty video, "Don't Come Around Here No More."
Almost. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then it goes very punky at some point during the song.
Yeah, kind of reminded me of like Avril Lavigne or something.
Yeah, kind of did.
I mean, I actually kind of expected this song to be played before the Vampire song, because this is like more of a upbeat, rocker.
Yeah, usually they do the upbeat numbers first, and then they do the ballady thing for the second number. But
yeah, I mean, I'm assuming maybe because the setup for All American Bitch was like a little bit more intricate, so maybe they needed more time.
It was very involved. I mean, it's getting to the point where I feel like some of the setups for the musical numbers are getting a little too involved.
Yeah. Like, I mean, overall, I thought both performances were all right. The ballad with Olivia Rodrigo, it's literally just her behind a piano, singing a cappella.
Very stripped down. Very
much stripped down. I thought it was fine. Had like a nice little, dry iced effect on the ground. I thought it was cool.
They do like doing the dry ice effects on the ground.
Gotta look like a Stevie Nicks video, baby.
Yeah.
Stand back.
We can't do the shells and skirts, but we can dry ice the fuck out of this.
Hell yeah.
What did you think of her actual material, though? I'm just not a fan of her music.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. Nothing. It didn't really blow my mind. Like it wasn't like Boy Genius for sure. I thought Boy Genius was fantastic.
I thought the first number was pretty obnoxious, and the second number I was like, this might be profound if I was like a teenage girl, but I'm not.
Yeah, like
I mean, and again, I recognize I'm not the target audience for her stuff at all. But to me, as a man of middle age, it just seems super trite. So
yeah, like
she's just not for me at all.
Yeah, like the second song, All American Bitch, it kind of felt like you said, like a teenager trying to be edgy. It's like a Kids Bop version of a punk rock song.
Exactly. And it was the same vibe that I got from Avril Lavigne back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, look at me. I'm edgy.
I'm punk. I mean, like the way that Amy Poehler spoofed Avril Lavigne back when she was on SNL, like, I'm punk. And it's just like,
yeah,
no, you're not.
Very much.
You think you are, but you're fucking not.
Yeah, like with Olivia's performance, like, oh, look at me, I'm jumping up and down on the table. I'm cake with my hands. I'm crazy.
I'm smearing this red velvet cupcake on my face so it looks like blood. I'm edgy. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, like if I was like 13 or 12, I'd be like, oh, she's out of control.
I'd be horribly impressed, but yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, like as somebody who's older, who has then gone on to see an actual real like punk rock moments, I'm like, all right, that's
I mean, as a person who's getting emails from AARP, I was not impressed.
Yeah, exactly. This is like, yeah, like I said, it's like a junior high school kid's version of what edgy is.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like, okay, well, whatever. I mean, when I see someone like Taylor Swift perform, again, I recognize that I'm not the target, but I'm just like, oh wow, she is like stupendously talented.
Yeah,
I totally see why she's got that super huge fan base, and she's become like the Times Person of the Year. I get it to that degree. Olivia Rodrigo, I don't get it. It doesn't.
Yeah,
it's not for me though. But
yeah. Like I know she's very popular, but her talent is okay. To me, it seems like she has some talent, but like I don't think she's like this like phenom, this superstar, like
yeah,
juggernaut that
exactly.
everybody's kind of making her out to be. Like I can, like you said, like I can see that in Taylor Swift, I can see that in Billie Eilish. I don't
Right.
quite see it in her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what do you
So
do?
anyway, that's our Olivia Rodrigo hot take.
That's our old men screaming at a cloud segment.
Yeah, exactly.
Get off my lawn.
And I mean, like just to talk about Taylor Swift for a second. Hi, Rini.
Hey.
There, like, apparently there were like lots of people who were like losing their shit over Taylor Swift being named as the Times Person of the Year.
Yeah.
And and one person, a friend of mine on Facebook, Adam Troy Castro, he made a very apt comparison, and he made the point of like Alan Sherman, the guy who did the "Hello Mother, Hello Father." You remember that song?
Yeah, of course.
Greetings from camp, whatever it was. He wrote a song in like 1964 when the Beatles first hit, to the tune of "Pop called the Weasel,"
Uh-huh.
and it was called something like "I Hate the Beatles" or something like that. And it just proved that like, oh, you're an old man who doesn't get it. So
Yeah.
I feel like we may have just sounded like that about Olivia Rodrigo, but
yeah, probably we're just old
yeah,
dudes that just like, all right,
we're olds.
yeah, and like that kind of reminds me. I remember, I still think about it. Like I forget what I was. I don't know if it was SNL or whatever, but like I remember watching some show where like either there was like the Wu-Tang Clan or
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg were performing, and my dad came in and looked at it and was just like, ugh, and just like rolled his eyes and left the room. And it was like, oh, I guess
Yeah,
now I'm my dad who's rolling his eyes and
yeah,
leaving the
yeah.
room at whatever new performers
We're
happening.
we're just our parents. We've just never had kids.
Yep.
What are you young people on about?
On the tickle tox, which
Yeah, which we'll get to later. But
we'll get there.
but first, we're going to talk about Weekend Update with let's see, Colin Jost and Michael Che.
Michael Che.
Curveball. I was not expecting them to host.
Huh? How about that?
Yeah,
Shaking things up.
I know. So let's see. What do we talk about?
We talked about Hunter Biden, about him evading his taxes from 2016 to 2020, and like Joe saying, and they're just catching him now. Wow, that's really embarrassing for whoever was president between 2016 and 2020.
Yeah, yeah. Which I mean that says it pretty well.
Very much so.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he did all these heinous things when his dad wasn't in political office.
Yeah, I really don't understand why people keep bringing him. Like he doesn't. I remember somebody on Twitter like saying like reposting that thing, everything he did, Hunter Biden and his allegations, and then somebody responding with "Impeach Hunter Biden now."
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, yeah, he doesn't hold office. He's just a dude.
Yeah, I like the thing where they're like, oh, when Hunter Biden's dad was in office, he made all these millions of dollars off of all these illicit deals, and then they're like, oh no, just kidding, that was Trump's kids.
Yes, exactly.
It really just seems like a super whataboutism sort of thing, or both sides do it. They're trying to draw this weird false equivalency.
Yeah,
which
I don't know.
I don't really get, but I guess that's all they have because
it's a mess. It's a big old mess.
Anyway,
I do like that one joke Michael Che had about Eric Adams, about how his approval rating is now 28%. Now that sounds low. And then he just went into the next.
He just goes into the next. I wrote that down too. That was one of the best jokes of the update, and it was just delivered perfectly. I was like, that's wonderful. Let's see. I also wrote down Robert F. Kennedy flew on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, but it was only to make sure those kids weren't vaccinated.
Yeah, the audience was like, "Oh."
Yeah. And at one point, Che just goes to Josie's like, "Oh, it's going to be one of those audiences." And I just became very amused by how Che was getting increasingly amused by the audience reactions, because like that's what I find so fun about Che is Che just doesn't give a fuck. He's like, if the audience doesn't respond to one of his jokes, he's like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, no, that is funny. You are incorrect.
That's a good joke. That's a solid joke. You were wrong not to laugh at it, and I admire how gutsy that is.
Bravo, Michael Che. Bravo.
Yeah. Let's see. I also wrote down the McDonald's is starting a spin-off restaurant called Cosmix.
Yes.
And the mascot is just Cosby McDonald, and then they show a Photoshop of Bill Cosby as Ronald McDonald.
Oh no!
Solid joke. Tip of the hat to the SNL graphics department. Wonderfully done.
And one more Che joke. I'll give a shout out to the Nick Cannon joke about how he spends $200,000 a year on trips to Disneyland for his 12 children, and that's how bad condoms feel.
Yeah, that again, great joke. I mean, this is what I love about Che's jokes is his jokes have a definite point of view, and I hardly ever see the punchline coming.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And that's what I find so much fun about Che.
That was a solid one. I will give him that. Yeah. Absolutely. So then we had two death segments. One with Marcelo Hernandez on depression in men.
Yes.
Yes. So Marcelo comes out, and it's basically kind of Marcelo going into his act. He even says it as
it's not kind of. It is 100% Marcelo doing a 3.5-minute segment from his act.
All right. I mean, I was trying
at the end, like, he doesn't really hit on the topic at all. He just starts talking about growing up Latino.
Right.
And that's fine, but I'm just like, don't do the bait and switch with the topic, because like at the end he's just like Joe says, it sounds like you didn't really talk about depression in men or what causes depression in men, and Marcelo just says, oh yeah, also a variety of psychological and genetic issues, but I don't really have stand up on that.
Yeah, all right. I was trying to cushion it a bit, but yeah, it's 100% his act because Marcelo mentions that he grew up with all women, his mom, his sister, and then later on his mom's friend and her daughter moved in with them. So it was literally just him surrounded by women, and yeah, like you said, he goes into his act about how women support each other and men don't. Like a woman will tell another woman, "Hey, I'm seeing this guy, and he robs banks," and the other woman will be like, "Well, at least he has a passion."
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get into this because I don't really mind like cast members burning off bits of their acts on Weekend Update in a death segment. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the lead-in should be better because it wasn't connected to the setup at all.
Yeah.
Depression. And because of that disconnect, I felt a disconnect from his stand-up because I was like, well, when is he going to start talking about depression? And so I didn't get into the stand-up bits as much as I might have otherwise if the setup had been better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to sort of connect those two dots where like they talk about women support each other, men don't. Like if you like when a man gets dumped by the love of his life, the other friends will be like, "Oh, damn, that sucks, bro," and like they kind of won't care, which could lead to the depression. But yeah, like I will admit, like there's a bit of heavy.
He had some comparison of like men act like you just lost. I forget what he said because I wasn't really taking notes on the stand-up, but I was like, "That's a good line."
Yeah.
I remember thinking, "Oh yeah, that's a good line," but it just, I don't know, because I was expecting a stand-up bit about depression in men, and I didn't get that, so it just felt like a weird bait and switch, you know?
Yeah, they were kind of doing some stretching. He kind of tried to, like I said, connect it, like where he's talking about how you go to the barbershop, it's a very unwelcoming vibe. That's why he goes to the salon, and even Colin Jost was like, "Oh, the salon do be sounding kind of fire." Because they had him.
Yeah, I mean it's yet another Colin so white joke.
Yeah, exactly. He's very white.
And he's extremely white. I mean, like even me, like super white guy that I am, I'm like, Colin's whiter than me.
Yeah, you're like Shaft compared to him.
I know.
Complicated man.
I'm glad you said it. I could not say that, but you said it. I didn't.
And we can dig it.
And speaking of white people appropriating black culture,
here we go. Wow, what a segue.
Thank you. I just thought of that. We have Chloe Feynman with holiday gift ideas, and she's like, "Well, one sexy gift idea is trying something new in the bedroom, like doing that dance that Julia Stiles does at the end of the 2001 movie Save the Last Dance. And she just goes into, the thing that was the climax of that movie of Julia Stiles, who was doing like hip hop ballet dancing, and she's kind of explaining the plot of Save the Last Dance as she goes. I've never seen that movie. Have you?
I have. It's been
Okay.
forever because like I remember watching. I
Right.
remember liking it, but I remember it being that movie was kind of a big deal when it came out. Like I remember, like
Yeah.
I think we see like a young Kerry Washington in it, and like I remember it
Uh-huh.
being good. I remember enjoying it.
Well, like, wasn't it also? I don't know if I want to say controversial, but it was unusual at the time because like Julia Stiles' character was having an interracial romance in that movie,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, there was that. It's like she basically plays like a woman, girl who moves to Chicago and has to go
Not a
to.
girl, not yet a woman.
Ooh, nice. But yeah, she kind of has to go to the inner city South Side Chicago schools after her mom
Because she doesn't
dies
get into Juilliard.
because she doesn't get into Juilliard, and like then she learns, from the black folks about street
Hmm.
dancing and the hip hop, and like she kind of combines her ballet styles with the rough and tumble moves of the.
Wasn't this the plot of Breaking?
Probably. I haven't seen Breaking in a while either, but yeah, it probably is.
Because I think the woman in Breaking was like a ballet dancer, and then she learns all about breakdancing.
Okay, now I gotta
And
look up break. Now I gotta look up Breaking because yeah, it's been a minute since.
Breaking, it's either Breaking or Breaking Two, Electric Boogaloo, and they made those movies. I think maybe they paused for lunch in between those two movies because they knew the breakdancing fad was going to end very, very quickly.
Okay, so with Breaking, no, it's different.
Hmm.
That is a struggling young jazz dancer who
Oh, completely different thing.
who
Got it.
meets up with
Got it.
two break dancers, and then
Right.
together they become the sensation of the street crowds.
Was one of the breakdancers named Boogaloo Shrimp?
Oh my god! No, one was Ozone and the other was Turbo. Boogaloo
Where
Shrimp.
do I know Boogaloo Shrimp from?
That does sound familiar. Like, oh wait, no, no,
Is
no.
that a
Wait, yeah, because the guy that
is
plays
that a football player?
no, 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 no. The guy that plays Turbo, his name is Michael Chambers, and his breakdancing name was Boogaloo Shrimp.
Okay. The name Boogaloo Shrimp wedged itself into my brain, and I'm glad it actually is connected with the movie Breaking,
Yeah,
which sounds a lot like Save the Last Dance, a
right.
movie I have not seen.
And the dancer that plays Ozone was Adolfo Quinones, whose breakdancing name is Shabadoo.
Shabadoo. Those are great handles, man. I
Yeah.
love it. Tip of the hat to Breaking.
Who else is there? Bruno Poppin Taco Falcon.
I'm loving this.
Poppin.
And Jean-Claude Van Damme is in the Breaking movies, or at least one of them.
Yeah, Ice-T is in one of. Wow, I forgot the Ice-T was in that movie. Holy moly!
Okay. Was anybody from SNL in either of the Breaking movies?
No, Anna.
Damn it!
Anna Lollipop Sanchez. Damn. Christopher McDonald. Oh no, he wasn't.
Oh yeah, Scooter McGavin though.
Scooter McGavin. Damn it. Sorry guys, we were so close.
So at best we got like a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon thing.
Yeah.
To SNL. We're only one step removed from an SNL.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Anyway, so like Chloe is doing the big hip hop dance. It's like a hip hop ballet mashup.
Right.
And she actually says at one point her crush in the movie skips a drive-by shooting to come support her, which I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that did happen in the movie.
That is wild.
Yeah, and then we see, of course, Devin Walker.
Yeah.
We see Devin Walker in the corner with cornrows being like, yeah, nodding his head and like, yeah, I support you, girl.
That's fair. I mean, I just love the concept that he like skips out on the drive-by shooting. Like, oh shit, I've got that drive-by shooting at 2, but I got to go see my girl dance, dog.
I can reschedule that.
I can do that drive-by anytime.
I can catch the next one.
I mean, I watched this and I was like, okay, well, I guess I know what Chloe's latest watch on Letterboxd was.
Yeah. So then, I mean, I thought this was kind of random, like this whole thing. But
it's extraordinarily random, yes.
But then,
I mean, that's half the fun of it.
Yeah, but then I think this might have come from something because, like, I did a little digging and I found out that like Julia Stiles was at the Mashup America's Book Festival in New York City. Okay. And then she did this performance where she read she gave one of her big speeches from 10 Things I Hate About You. And
okay, the big climactic speech. I
yeah,
remember that. I've seen that movie.
yeah,
Yes.
and
Okay.
I think it went kind of viral too.
Okay.
Like people like kind of reshared it and had because I think people could. Julia Stiles was kind of a big deal for a little bit.
Okay. So Julia Stiles is having a moment, is what you're saying.
I think so because so then from this
Okay.
viral moment, I think that's what gave the people at SNL the idea to do this because like as Chloe Fineman is doing the dance, and then I think at one point Colin asked her, "Well, does she get into Juilliard?" Julia Stiles comes out and says, "Yes, she
Yeah.
does." And then
Yeah. And then she does the last little bit of the dance with Chloe.
yeah, we get a Julia Stiles cameo who
And they're both in like black leotards, and then the sort of uh, what kind of pants?
like sweatpants or gym workout
Yeah,
pants.
kind of like sweatpants, but the lighter things, like a jumpsuit type of thing.
Like windbreakers almost.
Yeah.
And yeah, and Julia Stiles has not been. This is like her first return to SNL since she hosted way back in March of 2001.
Have no memory of her hosting, but
Yeah,
okay.
she hosted on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2001, way back when. Like, I mean, the towers
Good
were
for
still
her.
up when she hosted.
Was she promoting Save the Last Dance?
It came out the same year, so I think so.
Okay, maybe so. This is a real full circle moment for her. This is quite the journey.
I believe so. And like,
Wow.
I will admit, like when she came out, the audience like erupted into applause. Like,
Sustained applause for Julia Stiles. I would not have bet money for people like going that ape shit for Julia Stiles. And nothing against Julia Stiles. She's great. I've enjoyed her in the movies of hers I've seen. But yeah, wow.
yeah. Like, all right. So, Save the Last Dance came out in January of 2001, and she hosted in March of 2000. So she's probably kind of promoting that. But yeah, this was a
Yeah, so maybe it was still, yeah. I mean, I would assume. Okay,
but yeah,
all right,
the
funky.
the movie was a big deal. Had a budget of 13 mil, made 131 mil.
That's right, folks. You didn't think you were going to get box office reports on an episode where we're doing a regular SNL episode. Think again.
That's right.
Aaron's
Yeah,
on that shit.
we own that shit. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I can sort of understand how like she got such a big reaction because I think to like millennials or whatever or people like
Hmm.
that who grew up watching those movies like Ten
Yeah.
Things I Hate About You and Save the Last Dance. They like Julia Stiles really kind of means something to them.
Yeah.
So like it's like one of those things like, oh, that thing from my childhood is here. Hooray!
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a lot of it. I thought this was very funny. I felt like Chloe gave enough details on it on on the movie for everybody like me who hasn't seen the movie.
Mm.
So I thought it was funny just through the randomness of it. I probably would have enjoyed it even more if I'd ever seen the movie,
I think
and then I
so.
would have
Yeah.
been laughing in recognition.
Yeah.
But I think it still worked. I think it worked really well.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it kind of leans on the nostalgia a little bit. Like I think you'll
Yeah,
enjoy it more if you seen the movie and it kind of hold a special place in your heart. But if you haven't, I think you'll enjoy it enough just to see Chloe do her little goofy dance for a
yeah.
minute
I
or
mean
two.
they. Yeah, I mean it's just fun to see this dance that maybe hasn't aged terribly well,
Yes, absolutely.
because I'm sure that seemed much more revolutionary in 2001. It's like, oh my god, she's mixing up ballet and hip hop. Oh my
Oh,
god,
oh my! This will change the world.
yeah. And racism was never a problem again.
Nope, we did it. We
Um,
killed it.
we solved it. Julia Stiles solved racism in 2001.
That's right.
Uh, yeah. So yeah, this was funny, and it's a good high energy thing to end the update on. So
Yeah,
yeah, it
absolutely.
worked.
Absolutely. But yeah, so weekend update, not too shabby, not too shabby at
Not
all.
too shabby. Not too shabby. Pretty solid update, I think.
Absolutely. Next up,
I also like. I'm going to give a shout out to this line because I wrote it in my notes. Fast food, where your job is other people's jail.
yeah, I wrote that. I was gonna mention that, and I totally forgot. But yeah,
Crazy story. There was a woman at Chipotle who like threw her
burrito bowl
food
or something.
at the worker, and the judge sentenced her to work at a Chipotle for 2 months. Which that's the major Seinfeld. You have to be my butler energy.
Very much so. Or like that movie, The Super with Joe Pesci.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else remember
Never
that?
seen it.
Like, it's basically like he plays the Super of this rundown tenement building, and
and he's sentenced to live there.
Yeah, he's sentenced to live there.
Oh, well, and I bet hijinks ensue.
Hijinks do ensue. He gets
wow.
He gets to be one with all the urban folks and people of yeah.
Was this before 2001 when we solved racism?
It was. I feel like this was like mid-90s.
Oh, so racism was still very much a problem.
Yeah, it was. Like, unfortunately, Joe Pesci didn't solve it.
Joe Pesci wasn't enough to solve racism. That shit takes a Julia Stiles.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like hijinks definitely ensued. I bet those jinks got really high.
Yeah, no low jinks here. All high.
Like super high.
Okay. Oh, the Super, 1991. Oh, wow, that was...
a full 10 years before racism was solved.
Yeah, I know.
My goodness.
We were still in the thick of it.
Wow. We were so young.
Were we ever so young, Joe?
I think we were, yes.
Okay.
All right, next, speaking of young, we got Airplane Baby.
Another seamless transition.
Thank you, sir. We're going to count down my top 10 best transitions at our end of the season show.
Exactly.
Because our end of the season shows aren't long enough.
Exactly. Folks, call in with your favorite transitions of 2023.
Yes, and they can be from me or from Darren. Yes. I mean, we've both had good ones.
We sure did.
I'm just having a good week when it comes to transitions. So we got Airplane Baby. We got Chloe Trist as a flight attendant. We got Sarah Sherman playing a new mom. Adam Driver as her baby, 11 months old. Head through the seat, little baby body below the real Adam Driver head.
Right. Like, if any of you guys are familiar with Wienerville, with Mark Wiener, it looks like that.
Is this another penis thing?
No, it's not.
Penis thing.
You don't remember Wienerville? It was like Mark.
I remember Anthony Weiner sending texts.
No, that's not
stuff like that.
Like Mark Weiner.
That's not it.
No, like Mark Weiner was this like kind of puppeteer. I think he appeared on SNL like in season 6, but like he basically did this thing where it was.
Oh yeah, that one that everyone's seen.
Yeah, you guys remember that old chestnut.
During the golden era of Gene Domanian.
Yes, of course. But yeah, basically he had like head puppets where he would put his head on like a kind of a small little puppet body, and he would use he was like kind of have the body move around with his head.
How do you know this?
Because I'm a dorky nerd that watched a lot of Comedy Central when I was a kid, when I should have been out playing and being normal.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And then 15 years later, you did a podcast.
Yep. It all worked out.
Yep. It's all paying off now.
Yeah, baby. But yeah, guys.
Just rolling in that podcast moolah, baby.
Oh, my God. Forget about it. Maron. But yeah, guys, if you Google like Wienerville, it was.
I will not.
But
I will not. I am not Googling that outside of incognito mode, my friend.
It won't. I mean, something else might come up, but then there'll be another thing.
Yeah, something else will come up.
But anyhow, So basically, it's Adam Driver as a baby with he has like a little puppet baby body with his head through the seat.
Yeah, I mean, funny visual. Adam Driver again killing it, acting wise. All the other passengers, we got Keenan and Heidi reacting and being like, "Hey, that baby looks like an adult because it's actually played by an adult."
Yeah, he looks like his father. He looks like a father.
Yeah, I liked when Sarah's handing him the iPad to play, and he goes, "Oh, the Peppa Pig device," and we see him spit milk and. Again, low-hanging fruit, but it was funny.
Exactly, like him saying things like when the plane takes off, saying, "Oh, I'm feeling confused and uncomfortable, and frankly, I missed the womb."
Yeah, I like how adult his vocabulary was. I like Sarah. At one point, she starts playing peekaboo with him, and when she hides the doll that she's pulling out. Again, to show him, she puts it behind her back, and he goes, "You killed him, you bitch!"
Yeah, and then
I laughed.
Yeah, then he brings the doll back. Ah, there he is, my old friend.
Yeah,
You have
it's
returned.
funny. It's funny because babies have no object permanence.
Yeah, like I feel like this is a sketch that maybe Adam Driver kind of elevated a little bit. Like I feel like it's
I think he definitely did.
yeah.
It also reminded me in a good way of like back when Beck Bennett used to do the, the baby executive.
Yes, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, adults acting like babies. It's well worn comedic territory, but it worked well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a solid sketch. It didn't overstay its welcome. It's only like 4 minutes,
Yeah.
so
And then
good stuff.
they ended it with the tag of this whole thing's been a commercial for Baby Plane, where you can fly your baby separately on Baby Plane.
They love doing that ending of, hey, this was actually a commercial for this thing. Like, last week, the Make Your Own Kind of Music, it was a
The
trailer for a horror biopic
Mama.
of Mama Cass. This week we had the baby plane and Facebook, so that's a big go-to for them right now.
Yeah, like I would have. I mean, I think with the Facebook, with the old friend sketch, that applies a little bit more, or
Mm-hmm.
it hits a little bit better than the Baby Plane ending with this sketch.
Yeah,
I would have maybe.
this just it seemed like a very arbitrary ending. Like, okay, but
Yes, very much so.
that's fine. Let me ask you something. At this point in the show, there was something that happened that kind of surprised me. Now, I was watching on Peacock this morning.
Uh-huh.
Did you watch the show live or did you watch it on Peacock after?
I watched it live.
You watched it live. Okay. During the live show, was there a Pizza Hut commercial featuring Ego Nwadum?
I think so. Yeah, I
Okay,
definitely
because
remember. I've seen that
I
commercial.
saw a Pizza Hut commercial with Ego
Yeah.
right at this point in the show, and I was like, "Whoa, that's weird." A real, actual commercial with an SNL cast member
Oh,
during SNL.
you thought of the sketch for a minute?
I mean, I was seeing an SNL cast member for a split second. I thought, wait, is this a fake commercial? Because like last week, the fake commercial sounded so much like a real commercial, I had to back the recording.
No, I hear you.
So yeah, they're fooling me right and left now.
Yeah, I have seen that
I don't know
commercial.
what to think anymore.
Yeah, I have seen that commercial. It did kind of throw me off. I actually saw it like a while ago. I think Chloe Fineman's in like a Maybelline commercial, like an actual Maybelline commercial. Like,
That's kind of weird, right? Seeing SNL cast members doing real life
a
commercials.
little bit. I know. Didn't Cecily Strong do like commercial for like some tomato sauce too? Something like that.
I remember her doing a phone commercial recently with Seth Meyers.
Yes, the Verizon. Right.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, I've seen uh, Cecily in some other commercials, I believe. I can't remember if she was doing any when she was on the show. Um,
Yeah, I think maybe that's it. Like once you're off the show, it makes more sense than like
yeah,
when
it's
you're on the
it's
show.
it. I find it a little odd when they're still on the show. I think
I hear you. I hear you.
because they're like, oh, when they're off the show, yeah, you're just a working actor, whatever. When you're on the show, like that's the sort of stuff you should be making fun of. I think.
Yeah, I get it. It makes sense. But yeah, hey, times are tight. You gotta earn a buck.
Times are tight, maybe their publicists are pushing them to do it and, raise their Q profile or whatever.
Yeah, hey man.
Are Q profiles still a thing? I don't know.
I don't even. What is that? Q profile?
I think the Q profile, it's like how well known or how recognized you are by the general public.
Oh, I don't think I.
Like even if you don't watch SNL, like you might still know that Heidi or Ego is an SNL cast member because
Oh.
you've seen them in an ad or on the news or whatever.
I don't think I was aware of that.
I think that's what that measures. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I don't know. I didn't even. Wow, you blow my mind here, man.
Well, I mean, hey, you got to tell me all about Save the Last Dance,
Yes.
so we're even.
And
We're
Wienerville.
blowing each other's minds.
Yes, and Wienerville.
And Wienerville. I don't know what to think about the Wienerville. Do not send me links. Do not send me links. I am telling you right now, Darren Patterson, do not send me links. They will go unclicked.
Fine. Live in the dark. See what I care.
I have made it several decades on this earth without watching Wienerville, and I plan to continue that. That's working out very well for me. Thank you.
Missing out.
Good day, sir.
Missing out.
I said good day.
Fine. All right, next up, pre-tape. We got Elder PSA.
Elder PSA. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just decrying the tendency of senior prank victims on TikTok, which is like a thing, I guess.
Yeah, like I've seen enough. The young folks like to do this to get on the TikToks,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll do things like throw a blanket over an old person while they're shopping at Walmart, or
Right.
uh, they'll tell their grandmother that somebody got possessed by an owl in church, and of course, then the
I've heard about the last thing they use as an example, where they're like at a family dinner or something, they pretend to come out as gay to their grandparents just to see how they react.
yeah, that could go wrong pretty quick.
Honestly, like most pranks are not, they're just being a dick.
Yeah,
It's really, that's what 90% of pranks are.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know, because if it's about like making the other person feel bad or look stupid or possibly injure themselves or whatever, you're just being a dick. You're not being funny.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt, maybe it's the grumpy old man in me, but yeah, I kind of felt like when I was
Yeah.
watching the sketch where all these teens are doing things like dunking on Adam Driver's war veteran elder, and
Yeah.
with basketballs inside of Walmart.
I
Or
liked how Adam Driver's character said, "I have 81 confirmed
that
kills,"
was funny. I did.
and then later in the sketch he says, "I blocked doors with Governor Wallace." And I'm like, "That's not a point of pride anymore, Grandpa."
I have 81 confirmed kills.
But I loved how specific that was, and it's also kind of interesting because Adam Driver, I know he's a Marine vet.
He is, yes.
He was in the Marine Corps. I don't know if he like ever fought in a war or anything like that. But thank you for your service either way, Mr. Driver. But
Thank you, thank you.
I just thought that was very interesting.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's like I felt like, I don't know. I felt like with this sketch, it was just kind of showing us stuff that's already happening on TikTok, and I don't know if they had much of any jokes really there.
Yeah, this felt like, oh, here's an internet trend. Let's comment on it.
Yeah, but
Um,
yeah,
so I thought it was cute, but it was just okay.
yeah. Like I thought, like it needed like something extra. Like maybe the elderly people get their revenge on the teens by playing pranks on them. Like,
Hmm.
or it needed something else. It needed like some type of twist, because like
Yeah, something to heighten it
yeah,
or
it didn't.
or put a spin on it or
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, again, Adam Driver kind of elevated it with I have 81 confirmed kills line and whatnot. But yeah, for the most part, this was
I
kind of,
mean, both of those made me laugh. Yeah,
they did. But yeah, for the most part, I thought like, yeah, there's not much here with this sketch.
yeah,
I didn't take too many
yeah.
notes down for this one.
Yeah, and speaking of not much here, last sketch of the night,
Ooh wee!
tiny ass bag.
This was interesting.
The arc of this episode of SNL, it's a big old hump in the middle there, and then just lows at the beginning and end. It's like a camel.
Yes, very much so. A lot of ebbs and flows,
Yeah,
peaks.
yeah. Except it that that flowing is right in the middle, and then
Yes,
the ebbing on either end of that.
peaks and valleys.
Peaks and valleys. Yeah.
Yeah, so this one we have Ego and Marcelo as two kind of hip, trendy people pitching a tiny ass bag, because like they're saying,
Yep.
"Oh, are you usually carrying around like a big old purse bag? Well, you can carry something like this, a really tiny bag that can only carry one AirPod, and that's it, or one thong, and that's it." And
Yeah,
it's
this is one of those sketches. It felt like they started from the catchphrase and then they just built the sketch around there.
yeah, they really hammer home that catchphrase. They really
I
want.
was like, this is this generation's bye bye.
Yeah, they're really trying to make it a thing. But I will admit, like, again, the one thing that kind of saved this sketch for me was Adam Driver, because he comes in as Kevin, and he's like not like the other two pitch people at all. Like Ego and Marcelo are
Hmm.
like hip, trendy, almost like Miami like people, and then we
Yeah,
see Adam Driver as Kevin in this striped sweater, saying things like, "Oh, my bag is little and my ass is fat. I'm the king of the world." It's very
yeah,
like
yeah.
very
I liked how
hmm,
I liked how like deadpan and intentionally awkward he was in this. That worked well for the sketch
right. And
because it gave him a different note to play.
yeah, like I did giggle at that one line where they show off the tiny hiking backpack, and him
Hmm.
demonstrating it by saying, "Oh, I used to carry stuff for s'mores, but now I carry stuff for Smeless. It's dumb enough of a pun to make me chuckle.
Okay.
Smeless, John. Smeless.
Yeah, I know. I'm just sitting here quietly judging you.
Instead of s'more. Do you see?
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
Because smell less, John. Because it's less.
I
It's
get
not,
it. No.
you,
I'm sorry. I'm just questioning every decision that led to me co-hosting a podcast with you for 5 years. Don't mind me.
But it's smell less. Did you get it, John? I'll send you a link to explain that joke.
Not clicking.
I'll send that along with the Wienerville, and you'll
not clicking.
And
marking you as spam, sir.
Oh dear. Okay.
Marking you as spam.
But yeah, and then of course towards the end of the sketch, they have Olivia Rodrigo come out talking about the bag, saying and that's it, and that's it, and that's it.
Yeah, I hate it whenever they're trying so hard to make fetch happen.
Yeah.
when they're just hammering that catchphrase or that wannabe catchphrase so hard, I just don't like it, and I'm just like, no, fuck you. You don't decide that. We, the audience, decides that.
You don't tell me what the catchphrase, the catchy catchphrase is. I tell you.
You don't tell me. You don't. Yeah, no. It happens when the audience spontaneously decides, like, oh yes, we like the David Pumpkins. Any questions?
That's right. You don't own me.
Yeah.
You don't own me. I forget the rest of it.
We're going First Wives Club.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, this sketch wasn't the best. If it wasn't for Adam Driver kind of saving it.
Another word for that might be bad.
Okay. We could go. I chuckled a few times, but only because of Adam Driver's.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. He was the best. I mean, it was nice to see Marcelo and Ego get a thing on. I feel like that might have been what tipped the sketch in favor of some of the cut ones, because they put up a couple cut for time sketches this week.
They did. We got one called Actor's Journey, where so the basic premise of this one is it's kind of not a round table, but like an interview that first time director is having with someone, and they're about to show their.
It's like an inside the actor's studio type of thing. He's having a spotlight.
Exactly, and he's about to show his film, and like the interviewer's asking him questions, and it's like, yeah, it took me a long time to make it. Like I remember back in the day, I was staying in this really crappy apartment. That was really just the worst, but it made me stronger, and I persevered. And then of course we cut to Adam Driver, who is the landlord of that building, and him just being very upset that he was insulted in front of all these people about the status of the apartment building. It's a good premise.
He was like, hey, I thought it'd be fun to see my old tenant at this thing, but now I hear you just saying all these horrible things about the property I manage. And yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah, I actually like this sketch quite a bit. I kind of wish they kept it on.
I really liked it. I was like, why was this not on the show?
Yeah.
This 100% should have been on the show. And the only thing I could think of why this wasn't on the show and something like Tiny Ass Bag is it was legit a time thing, because this is like nearly 6 minutes and Tiny Ass Bag is like 3.5.
Yeah. But yeah.
But again, I liked how it escalated. Like Dismukes, he tries to like show a clip of his movie, and instead it's a Zillow listing of his whole apartment that the landlord has like somehow put up there to prove that it's not a bad place.
Now, as you can see here, you just look at the molding is very nice. I don't know what he's talking about.
And then he's like, well, it wasn't a great place because I had those weird neighbors. There was like that woman who would sleep on the inflatable raft in the pool, and then like Heidi is that woman in the audience, and Bowen is another one of his old neighbors who's and Driver's like, you just outed Richie.
Real nice. You see that? He outed Richie. Real nice.
I mean, the formula became obvious pretty quickly, but they still had enough variations on it that it stayed amusing. I like Dismukes talks about his childhood bully at one point, and then Ego is in the audience as the widow of his childhood bully.
He was shot yesterday.
Yeah, and Dismukes goes, he was shot yesterday, but you came to this today?
I guess because I wanted something to take my mind off it, but I guess I chose the wrong thing, didn't I?
Yeah, and the very end we have Molly Carney popping up as God, which I just love the increasing insanity of it. I'm sure this is something Dismukes had a hand in writing.
Yeah, like if this was on the show, this would have been my sketch of the night. I'm kind of bummed we didn't get it.
This was killer. This was killer. I mean, there was a good amount of good to great material in this episode. I think this was probably overall Adam Driver's strongest outing yet.
I would agree.
Um,
I would agree.
I think there was just weak stuff at the very beginning and very end.
Yeah, I would say that too. But yeah, I really like the sketch. And the other Cut for Time sketch that they released on YouTube, Court Case.
Yeah.
And yeah, very interesting. So
what to say about this one? Yeah.
Well, yeah. So basically, it starts off with Adam Driver, who's defending himself, who's acting as his own lawyer in this court case, and he gives this really impassioned speech to the jury about what football means to him and his dad, who passed away. And it's actually some really good, like, kind of dramatic acting from.
I mean, he's playing it very straight, which is what the sketch requires.
Yeah, there's like no laughs for like the first minute, like intentionally.
Yeah, they're going for the long setup. But I do feel like it took forever to get to the point.
A little bit, yeah. Maybe they were stretching.
I mean, this thing's like 6 minutes long, which is just way too long.
Right, and so then the twist turns out that the judge, tells the jury to strike whatever he said because he's actually here for kicking French bulldogs through a football goal on a field.
Yeah, and then he edited that into a sizzle reel, and yeah,
and then like it kind of reveals that like he's actually a madman, and actually his dad isn't dead. He's actually right there in the courtroom, and he gave
and there's some back and forth with some of the jurors. I mean, I'm looking at the YouTube playlist right now, and the actor's journey sketch that's showing 5:56, and court case is 6:05.
Right.
So we got about 9 seconds, 11 seconds of difference. 9 seconds. I can't math. Yeah. We got 9 seconds of difference between these two sketches. Actor's journey flew by for me. Court case, interminable.
Yeah, like the court case. I'm kind of glad that did get cut because it does.
It dragged. I mean, I was like, I totally see why this sketch was cut. Actor's journey, I think 100% should have been in the show, but court case, I'm like, yeah, I see why that didn't make it past dress.
Yeah, like it kind of, like you said, like if this was maybe a little bit shorter and tightened up a bit, maybe. But yeah, like as it is now, it's like, this is.
I liked. They had the germ of a good idea. I liked when like the jury leaves the room to deliberate and then they come immediately back in. But even that wasn't timed quite right.
Yeah, it took a while because
because
Keenan, who plays the judge, as the jury gets up to leave, they're like, "Oh, as you guys leave, I'll just have this little snack." Yes, sir. I'll have this little snack I have here, and I'm gonna eat this snack. Here I go. I'm gonna eat this snack. Oh, you guys are back. Like it took him. He had to kind of vamp a little bit for the jury to leave.
It would have been funny if we were seeing like the first juror come back into the room before the last juror was even out of the room. That's how it should have been timed.
Yeah, very much so.
Like that fast, where there was literally like no pause. I'll just have this snack while you're gone. Oh, you're already back.
Yeah,
it should have been like that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
but maybe just they didn't have enough space to work with or whatever. I'm sure if it had gone to the live show, they might have worked that out and hopefully would have cut it down. But as it is, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, not really. It's I mean, I'm glad they cut it,
but actor's journey is terrific. Yeah,
yeah. Like I really wish they kept that in.
Yeah, that's worth checking out. Go on YouTube, look for SNL actor's journey, and it's definitely worth seeing if you only saw the live show.
Yes, and so at the end of the show, we close out with they put up a title card to commemorate the passing of the late great Mr. Norman Lear, who we lost earlier this week.
Yeah,
at age 101, who hosted the show.
Amazing.
Season 2, second episode of season 2, and
yeah.
I mean, wow, what a legacy!
And that shows like kind of what a celebrity was Norman Lear was, and I mean, this is a television writer and producer, and like the man on the street knew his name, and he was famous enough to host Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I think now, kind of some showrunners are kind of known by the general audience, like some like I don't know who I can't think of, like Vince Gilligan or something like that.
Yeah, or a Dan Harmon or something, and they have their own followings. But I mean, this is like back in the network
Mm.
days, and Norman Lear had hit after hit after hit. He had All in the Family, he had Good Times, he had The Jeffersons, he had Maude, he had
Sanford and Son, right?
Sanford and Son, One Day at a Time. I mean, just the man was a juggernaut, and I've seen so many stories on Twitter, and particularly this week, about like what a genuinely nice and good person he was, and how he was like taking his time to mentor people.
Yeah.
There was a story of somebody, he was like, I was delivering a pizza to Norman Lear's place, and he found out I was a writer, and he had me sit and eat the pizza with him, and then like years later he was like working on a project with Norman Lear.
I mean,
Amazing.
that's amazing, and also just the fact that he wasn't afraid to like tackle a lot of like taboo subjects in the world that like
Hmm.
people are afraid to talk about now. Like, I mean, of course, he was like extremely
Yeah.
liberal person, but like on that episode of Maude where Maud is, debating whether she should have an abortion or not. They took on
Right.
the topic of
Yeah.
like people don't talk about abortion on TV shows now. Like you,
I know, and like it's kind of like that SNL sketch where uh, Richard Pryor and Chevy Chase are doing the word association, and they drop an M bomb in that,
yeah,
and like they could never get away with that sketch today,
yeah, like they were,
and that's what like a lot of Norman Lear shows are like.
yeah, exactly. Like he had episodes about race or poverty and just
Sammy Davis Jr. kissing Archie Bunker on the cheek
yeah,
at the end. That, I mean, that's one of the funniest sitcom episode endings ever.
yeah, exactly. And like he would attack all or not attack, but he would bring up all these all the discussions and all these topics, but they wouldn't. They
Hmm.
would be funny first, but then they would carry a message, behind
Yeah,
that
true,
funny.
true.
And like
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure if he did something like that now, people would scream, "Oh, it's woke" or whatever nonsense they'd scream. But like the fact
yeah,
that he was able to like have jokes and also bring these kind of nuanced discussions and views on complicated topics that like I said by today's standards are still complicated and still we're talking about and still no one would want to tackle them on TV shows or
yeah.
whatever. Like it's
I think even like I remember reading like the pilot episode All in the Family was the first time you ever heard a toilet flush on TV.
a toilet flushing.
Yeah,
But whoosh, like
and this is like 1970 or 71, something like that. I mean, it just
yeah, like my mom and dad were around. That's crazy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, well, rest in peace, Mr. Norman Lear. You're a
Yeah, normally, yeah,
true
and
pioneer.
yeah, I remember like a few years back they did like live recreations of some of the famous episodes of his shows, and
Yes.
Jimmy Kimmel was like a co-producer on that, and that and those were kind of a mixed bag, but they were also fascinating to see, just seeing those people like perform those episodes live, and just seeing Norman Lear in like his 90s at that point,
Yeah, yeah, I remember
late
that. They had
90s.
like the one with Woody Harrelson and Marissa Tomei as Edith and Archie
Right,
Bunker.
right.
There was one with like Jamie Foxx as George Jefferson or something. Like I remember those, and
I remember Andre Brower was in one of them.
that might have been good times.
It was probably, yeah, I think he was playing the dad on Good Times, the John Amos role.
Right.
And I remember Kevin Hart was playing
Oh,
uh,
different.
Gary Coleman's character in Different Strokes, which wasn't a Norman Lear show, I don't think. But
Yeah. Why they do that then?
I think they were just expanding it to, hey, you remember this sitcom from the 70s or 80s? Because they did a Facts of Life episode too.
Yes, I remember that. And normally it didn't have anything to do with that either.
Yeah, yeah. I guess they were just expanding it at that point. But anyway, they started with a bunch of Norman Lear shows, and that was the point I was trying to make.
Absolutely. So yeah, R.I.P. Mr. Norman Lear. We tip our hat to you
Norman Lear.
here at the SNL Nerds.
We will not see that man's like again.
Probably not.
One more thing. I saw uh, during the good nights, I saw Molly standing next to Sarah, and I was like, I really want to see those two do something together. I want to see how their comedic sensibilities mesh.
Yeah,
I think that would be fun.
yeah. I don't know. I think I said this on the SNL Network podcast I was on. Like I'm starting to become really concerned about Molly because it seemed like when they first were there, Molly
Hmm.
was getting a good amount of screen time, and we got to know their personality more. But
Yeah.
lately,
And now they seem kind of underserved.
yeah, Chloe
Yeah.
Trost seems to be getting more and more screen time than Molly, and like
I mean,
Chloe just got
Molly
here.
did okay. Molly did okay for themselves this episode. I mean, they were in the beginning, um, and other places. I mean,
Oh
I wanted to say Molly was also in the actor's journey, but that was cut for time,
no,
so that doesn't really count.
Molly was in the Beep Beep sketch.
That's right. That's right. So Molly had some bits here and there, but yeah, I'd love to see Molly get a nice showcase sketch again. And
Yeah,
I think a Molly Sarah Sherman partnership would be really interesting.
yeah. I don't quite know why we can't make that happen, or I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe it's just the
I mean,
writers
'cause,
don't know how to write for Molly, or I don't
like
know.
when we have like such a big cast as we have now, it's like 20 odd cast members. I want to see like every possible combination.
Absolutely,
You know,
let's mix it up. I
like
mean,
match up Molly and Sarah. Let's match up Mikey and Devin, and
yeah,
like just all sorts of combos that we haven't seen before.
yeah. I mean, we got Marcelo and Ego. Like, I don't think I've seen that before. That
Yeah,
was kind of
yeah,
neat.
exactly. I want like at least one of those a week.
Yeah. So yeah, SNL listeners, if you're listening, and we know you are, hook up Molly.
Hmm.
Why don't you?
Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Molly's good. Molly's good stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
should we see what the folks have to say
yeah.
about the
Let's see
episode?
what the folks have to say. Yeah. Overall, I thought it was a pretty okay episode. I thought it was pretty solid.
It was. I think it was a good episode. I think, like I said, I think it started weak and it ended weak, but there's some solid stuff in the middle there.
There is some solid stuff in there. But let's get to what our fans think about this episode.
Okay.
We got Mr. Nick Store at Nick Store saying, thought it would be hard to top the Bargatze episode, but Driver did it with room to spare. Apart from the cold open, it got good quick and stayed good,
Mhm.
including the two cut for time sketches. Highlights were Baby Adam Driver, Punky saying who, and Che's Michael McDonald / Cosby joke.
Mm.
Not bad. All right.
It's interesting. You like both the cut for time sketches because I thought the actor's journey was like the clear, like
Yeah.
far and away better than the court case one.
Yeah. I hear you.
But hey, you like what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Boardman gets paid. Says, good day, fellow nerds. Well, good day to you, sir. Mr. Driver knocked it out of the park. I love how the Ender Driver monologues are just so weird. Keenan pulling out that hammer was moment of the year for me.
Oh, Hammer! Look at him with the street lingo.
When did he? Oh! When he had the gun in his
Yeah.
pants. Okay.
See, John. On the streets, we call him hammers sometimes.
You see, I bet I would get this if I had watched Shaft.
And I can dig it.
It says also, fuck those TikTok pranksters. Ooh, I get off the lawn moment. Love you guys. Peace.
Thank you, Boardman.
Thank you, Boardman.
So we also got one from Carmel Pretz at Carmel25 saying, great episode. Adam Driver elevates sketches with silly premises, something phallic looking or an adult baby. His monologues are Steve Martin level creative.
Ooh, that's a bold statement there.
Wow.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but wow.
Yeah. Olivia Rodrigo, the stellar performer, Chloe Fineman's dancing, and the Julia Stiles cameo put it over the top.
Wow. Yeah, Camille really liked this one. She's also on Threads at Carmel.violin on Threads. So if you're on Threads, go check her out over there.
Check it out.
Let's see. We got. I'm not sure. Have we had a comment from Jacob before? This might be a new person.
I think some we have, but like he usually comments after we recorded the episode.
Okay, yeah, he's more of an infrequent commenter. So we're glad you got in under the wire this week, Jacob. Jacob's at darkmatter_362. Says, I like the cold open on second viewing. Didn't expect them to go near the subject. Driver's monologue was wonderful. Take that, Cybertruck.
Oh, because
I don't
micro.
I don't get that.
He wants one of those Tesla trucks for his micro penis.
Oh, right. Okay. And yeah, Musk was talking about this is the car that Blade Runner would have driven.
Yes, absolutely.
And everyone was like, his name's not Blade Runner, you fucking moron.
Oh, God.
Got it.
He wants to be cool and liked so badly, and it's just.
I know.
It's just not happening.
I saw some. I saw some clip of him at some. He was being interviewed, and he was like, "Tell that to Earth," and then he's like pausing for laughter or applause, and there's just nothing. It's like crickets. Okay, anyway, back to Jacob. Jacob says, "Airplane baby was creepy, like a demonic baby Adam Grossman."
Oh, wow. That's a throwback.
Overall, pretty solid episode, butt babies and all. Butt babies was something they said during the We're Trying sketch. Though I liked it way more on a rewatch. Ooh.
All right, maybe we got to rewatch it. Yeah. Okay, not bad.
I'm amazed that some of our listeners are doing like full rewatches too. We typically rewatch at least a few sketches to make sure we have everything down to record the podcast. But
yeah,
some of you folks are doing rewatches too. I'm impressed.
Yes, you
or horrified. I'm not sure which.
You guys have truly earned the title SNL nerds. Yes.
Yes.
And we should also mention that one of our good friends and fellow followers, Minette Marathi, she was actually there in person live for this.
She was. I think she went to the dress. If I get that right.
Yeah, because she when we tweeted out the Actor's Journey sketch, she commented saying, "This was the sketch I remember seeing was cut prior to the bag sketch. It was half set up from my end that I could see. I didn't understand until I saw Rodrigo's cameo." So yeah, so maybe they decided to go with the little ass bag because they wanted to give Olivia Rodrigo a little thing to do, and like they knew her fans would go shit for it.
Okay, so apparently Actor's Journey was intended to be in the show until the very last minute because they were. She says it was half set up. So wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I really felt like they should have made a bigger push to put that in the show.
Yeah, I mean, but maybe it was a time thing. It was like a 6-minute sketch. I mean, I wonder if they'd cut that down to make it fit the slot better, or that's interesting.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
That's interesting. I'd love the full story on that because it was so much funnier than the bag sketch.
Yeah, that's it, John. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Oy.
But yeah, maybe it was the fact that Olivia Rodrigo was cameoing in it. Maybe that was the X factor that pushed it over the top. Who knows?
Who knows? Who can say? And yeah, that's our episode, guys. Thanks again for listening, as always, to our podcast. Join us next week when that we got the Christmas episode. Holy moly, it's Kate McKinnon and it's Billie Eilish.
Wow, I brought both of those people up earlier in this episode.
You did. Full circle this thing comes.
That was a little subtle foreshadowing I did there. Yeah,
well done. Well played. Yeah, looking forward to it. Can't wait to see what Kate brings. Of course, beloved cast member. I want to see how she plays with all these new kids. Maybe she'll bring back some old characters. Like, I mean, I kind of hope she doesn't bring back Miss Rafferty, but I'd be game to see. Definitely Dykes and Fats. I'd definitely be game to see that again. Or
I mean, that requires 80, as does Whiskers or Weed.
Yes, that's true. Sheila Sauvage, that barfly character she had at the end of some sketches.
That's good stuff. Who is the old actress who was always talking about how horrifying things were in her day?
Damn it! I gotta look at.
I forget the character name.
But yeah,
but that was always an amusing sketch for me.
That I could see being like prime. I think that's prime for a return because like they could go into how actors are afraid of AI or something, and then she can be like, back in my day, AI stood for, something gross or whatever. But yeah, I could definitely see that character coming back for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So,
yeah. I mean, looking forward to seeing whatever she does. I'm sure she's going to hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
As Kate McKinnon is wont to do. I mean, she's an SNL cast member that I never got sick of. Even when the show was using her a whole bunch, I never got sick of her.
Yeah.
And I can't say that about a lot of cast members.
Absolutely, for sure. So, next week, we're closing out 2023. Kate McKinnon, Billie Eilish. It should be a good one. Expectations are very high. So let's see what they bring. Yeah. Let's see them bring the heat.
Bring it, Kate McKinnon. We are ready for it.
Absolutely. And
all right.
Yeah. That's our episode. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, because we refuse to call it X, at SNL Nerds Show. You can follow me on Twitter and in Instagram and all the social media handles at Darren Credible. DARIN Credible.
Yeah, you can also follow me on the Twitter and the Instagram and where else am I? Blue Sky at Trumbull Comic, TRUMBULL, and the word comic.
Yes. Donate to our Patreon at Non-Productive. Leave a 5-star review on this platform of your choice. Do it now, today.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Yes, we like that. Just tell your friends, hey, you like SNL? There's a cool SNL podcast I listen to. Why don't you give it a try? See how you like it.
Spread the wealth. 'Tis the season.
Give us some retweets. Share us on the social media. All that fun stuff.
Show us some love. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know where that came from. That was weird.
I mean, you had hardly sung in this episode, so it had to come out sometime.
That's probably it. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, it's a thing you do.
It's that thing I do.
Yeah.
That thing.
Breaking my heart into a million pieces.
There we go.
Like you always do.
There we go. Hey, Patterson. That's the character's last name.
Guy Patterson. This is true.
It all comes together.
That's a great movie. Anyway, we'll be back next week talking about Kate McKinnon, Billie Eilish. But until then, nerds out!
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.